Hi YouTubers, Old Radio Al here. Today we're looking at a Silvertone from Sears. It's a model 7020 from early 1942. I've heard these referred to as a candy cane model from the piece of plastic that swoops around the tuning dial across the Silvertone logo there. But its proper name was the Commentator. It replaced an earlier plastic model, also called the Commentator. Came out in 1939. That model had 4 push buttons. It also had an oscillator problem where it drifted off station after being on for about an hour. These radios came to be called the Commentator because at the time, the 1939-1942 period when this radio was produced, radio networks had started sending reporters to Europe to cover the war, and those reporters started to not only report the news, they started commenting on it, giving their personal views, and instead of being called simply reporters, they started being called news commentators. So that's where that came from. Anyway, radios were how people heard those reports, along with movie newsreels. So the name Commentator seemed, I guess, to Sears to be like a natural marketing name for these radios. Strangely enough, plastic became unavailable before metal did in war production. So the earlier plastic models were replaced with this one, which has a 2-part metal case. This radio was made for Sears by Noblett Sparks, aka Arvin. It has a chassis number of 132.814. 132 was Sears' manufacturer's code for Arvin. When production of all radios was halted for the duration, they had a lot of these radio parts for these radios stockpiled, warehoused, and after the war they reintroduced this radio for the Christmas season in 1945, and then it was modified the following year, new tubes, and given new model numbers for 1946. This model had its depth increased by this amount, about 1.5 inches over the old plastic model, and they put a Faraday shielded antenna mounted horizontally in the base of this cabinet, and it works surprisingly well for being in the bottom of a metal cabinet. You'd think that it would not be a good thing, but it works really well. Like the other Silvertone Arvin built metal cabinet radios, this one's got a hot chassis with a floating ground. Kind of dangerous, but there it is. It's an All-American 6 with an RF stage. Let's give it a listen.
When the boat comes home after crossing the foam, and he's still at sea, he'll hurrying, all of us hurrying, who's he gonna take? Rolling on the lane. Now who's the boy who's full of joy? Waiting for most goodbye. Dum dum dum, lot lot of soap, potato.
Kind of different. Grill work in the back as well as the front. All metal cabinet. At the bottom, you can see that loop antenna.
How green was my valley, how blue were my skies. I worshipped the love light that shone in your eyes.
Hope you enjoyed seeing the Silvertone. Next to Philco's, Silvertones are my favorite radios, whoever they were manufactured by. Anyway, there we have it. That's the Arvin built Sear Silvertone 7020 Commentator from 1942. Thanks for watching. More radios on the way.